Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
And we bring you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Bea Diaz-Fabros. In tonight's Game Plan, we'll give you a rundown of the PBA Governors Cup weekend as we discuss KJ McDaniels, Shabazz Muhammad, and the Magnolia Hotshots.
Then the president, Gabe Norwood, gives his declarations approaching the NBA playoffs. Are the Brooklyn Nets still the title favorites? And we'll go inside the game of Gilas Pilipinas head coach Chot Reyes as he looks ahead to the long-term plans of the national squad. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. It was an eventful PBA weekend, delivering buckets after buckets. As we're about to head to the playoffs, here's the Governor's Cup standings as of today. Magnolia Hotshots are leading at the #1 seed, while the NLEX Road Warriors finish the regular season with a comfortable 8 wins following the last game of import KJ McDaniels. San Miguel Beermen stay at 3rd with new import Shabazz Muhammad leading SMB with 57 big points in their last win. Tonight, to help us run down the exciting weekend, we have two-time PBA champion Gabe Norwood. Gabe, welcome to the game.
Hello, good to see you guys again.
Hi, Gabe.
Hey, Gabe, thank you very much for changing your shirt for us. I realized that might have been an issue. Not so sure
Right?
about
the colors weren't popping.
Last
They weren't
minute
popping.
change.
They weren't popping.
Yeah. So, we just want to make sure you look good. But let's get started here. A lot to talk about, Gabe. Let's start off first with the NLEX Road Warriors, especially because they have now said goodbye to KJ McDaniels. And, the way that he's playing here, it feels like he hit a completely different level in a good way compared to his previous stint. Did you see something different with him in his stint this time with the NLEX Road Warriors?
I think, it's a given that KJ is going to come out and play hard with a lot of energy. Just from a visual standpoint, I think he came back in a much stronger sense. He physically looked a little bit more imposing out there on the court than he did on his first trip over. And I think it translated into his game. When we played him, rain or shine, we were able to play them close, and he just went into kind of takeover mode, and everything was attack into the basket. Wasn't really settling for a lot of jumpers, which he's actually been shooting the ball well, or he did shoot the ball well for the conference. So I think it was just mentality and kind of bringing that infectious kind of energy to NLEX that has helped them, towards the top of the standings.
Well, Gabe, Coach Yang Yao would love to have him up until the playoffs, but of course he has to attend to family matters. But they did clinch that twice-to-beat advantage as they approach the quarterfinals. Do you think, though, that there will be some adjustment issues with the new import that they got in Cameron Clark, despite the 1-week rest that they have as they approach the playoffs?
I think you just made a great point right there with the 1-week rest and the 1 week of preparation and things like that. It's hard to fill the shoes of a guy like KJ, who's probably up to be a finalist for best import of the conference. But you look at NLEX as a whole, you look at the way, Kevin Alas is playing and Chris Rosales is playing, and you have, Don Troiano, who's been consistent the whole way through. They also lost Jericho Cruz to free agency, but guys are stepping up, and that's kind of the way Coach Yang has always handled things, whether it's adversity or just giving opportunity to his players. So whether it's a new import or local stepping up, I think NLEX and kind of Coach Yang's kind of system and how he operates has proven to give opportunity to everybody.
Yeah, and you have to feel that with NLEX's twice-a-beat advantage, that if there is an adjustment period, then they'll feel happy that they have that in their back pocket. But now moving on, let's move on to the San Miguel Beermen, because Shabazz Muhammad did something crazy, Gabe. He went crazy, 57 points. He actually outscored the entire Meralco Bolts team in the second half. Just talk about how great he is once he gets his rhythm going. He actually did mention that once his jumper starts going, he's tough to stop. Yeah,
I mean, we got him the game before, so we didn't run into the full, the full arsenal of what Shabazz has, but he came out and played a great game. They were down there at halftime. I think he had 12 points in the first half, and to come out that aggressive and kind of show his team that he wants to win. They were already I think, assured a playoff spot, but he wasn't content with that. He was there to push them towards the top of the standings, and his performance was fun to watch. You know, as a basketball fan, and also as somebody who doesn't have to play them, we already got them out of the way and played them close as well. It was fun just to kick back and watch a guy really go into the zone. You know, as cliche as that could be.
Gabe, this is the third import for the San Miguel Beermen. In the past 2 games, he's averaged 45 points after that dismal first game that they had versus Magnolia. Do you think that San Miguel finally found their gem in the import in Shabazz Mohammed?
Possibly. You know, I think it's one of those situations also. You look at, you know, Orlando and Brandon Brown, who they had before, that they were able to kind of find their way through that. You know, Orlando's a similar player in terms of being on the perimeter rather than Brandon Brown, who is more of a stretch four. But Shabazz is walked in and kind of gotten better every game. So, you know, it's tough to beat 57 points, but, you know, if it's a matter of just getting wins now, and they have a great group around them, guys who have won championships and have great experience here in the PBA. So it's just a matter of Shabazz just fitting in and helping them get to where they're used to going.
Gabe, if there's a team that's been the most consistent this conference, it's probably the Magnolia Hotshots. When you look at their record, you think that, hey, maybe they are favorites. But is it clear-cut in your mind that this is the team that is a team to beat in terms of winning the championship this year? Or is the gap not as big, not as wide as the standings would suggest?
I think consistency is the biggest word right there. You look at what they did last conference, you know, rolling over into this conference and adding Mike Harris to their team. You know, to win a game, their last game without Ian, without Calvin, they still have pieces that are there getting healthy and ready for a playoff run. So to put them as a favorite, I think it's obvious. It's the numbers don't lie. You know, at the end of the day, you gotta go out there and get it done. But they seem to be clicking on all cylinders right now and really looking to add 2 great pieces, probably 2 of the better players in the PBA, and Ian and Calvin in the next couple of weeks.
Gabe, when you look at the standings, in the mid-pack, it's really stacked there. You have TNT, Barangay Ginebra, Alaska, Northport at around 5-5, 6-5 in the standings. Who do you think is the dark horse as you look at the PBA standings today?
Ooh, I would love to have said rain or shine. If we could have snuck in a couple, we had our chances and kind of let those go. But I mean, to pick one, I mean, it's hard to knock down a champion. Like if you look at TNT and what they've done in the past as well, if you want to go recent history in terms of last conference.
Yeah.
But man, Northport is on a tear right now. Getting Robert back, Artist, their import is playing extremely well. There's so much talent, man. Like you said, it's a jumble right there in the middle, and it's just going to come down to matchups and, you know, how the seedings play out.
Yeah, well, we've seen stranger things in quarterfinals before, so let's see if we have anything stranger this conference. Gabe, don't go away because we're not done with you yet. After the break, the president, Gabe Norwood, gives his declarations approaching the NBA playoffs. Are the Brooklyn Nets still the title favorites? Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
Welcome back to The Game. It has been an interesting weekend for NBA fans as we were able to witness 50-point games from Ja Morant, Jason Tatum, and the king himself, LeBron James. Alongside these amazing performances, some teams have also slacked off that might cause concern for their supporters. Tonight, NBA.com Philippines All-Star writer Gabe Norwood joins us to play his signature game called The President Declares.
I like the graphic, you know? I like the graphic and I like
that.
Yeah, and you know what? I like the fact that Gabe doesn't have to campaign like all the other presidentiables out there. He's already the president of this one.
That's right.
So let's get started here. Bea has all of the list. I'll be here to react to everything you say, Gabe. So let's see whether or not we agree. Bea, get us going.
Okay, all right. So I'm sure, Gabe, you know how this works. Basically, we'll give you a little storyline from the NBA weekend, and then we will give you the line that you have to complete. So last weekend, we saw LeBron James finally ending that 4-game winning streak for the Lakers, dropping 56 points. However, they still are at the 9th seed. So given this, Gabe, the president declares that the Lakers will go as far as blank in the playoffs. What do you think, Gabe?
The president declares that the Lakers will go as far as a healthy AD is available.
Oh my goodness! I like how you didn't make a take.
That's so safe.
Oh.
So safe.
I mean, I think that's the wild card right there. I think a healthy AD changes the whole landscape of a team. So I'm not gonna say finals with a healthy AD, but
you know, I find that really interesting, Gabe. I find it really interesting because I actually feel that even the play-in matchups will be difficult for the Lakers. I mean, you look at the standings right now, and there's a chance that they play the Pelicans, who are playing very well, and could have a Zion Williamson coming back. So I don't know about that. But let's see.
The only thing I like about that scenario is the matchups. I think if you look just in terms of styles and matchups, that one could be interesting for sure.
I agree with that. All right, Bae.
So
let's not argue about the Lakers for the meantime, because we're gonna have a long season.
That's true. I'm a Lakers fan, so we can go all night here. But
that's a whole other show.
Yeah, let's go on to the next one. Let's talk about the Warriors. Now, without Draymond Green, you know, they've had that 4-game losing streak, and you know, Steph Curry even mentioned that if they start the playoffs tomorrow, they would be in big trouble. Given this, Gabe, the president declares that the Warriors will go as far as blank in the playoffs.
Yeah, I decided to go very presidential and politically correct and not taking a full take. So I'm going to say the president declares that the Warriors will go as far as their second unit takes them. I think their bench play has to be.
I like the way Gabe answers
elite.
tonight.
Has to be elite. I mean, they have a lot of players there available when you look from Porter Jr. to the young guys, Moody and Kuminga, and I think it's just a matter of their bench. You know what Steph and Clay and when Draymond's healthy, what they're going to do when it comes down to crunch time. But I think we got to see what that second unit is all about.
Actually, Gabe, you know, this is where I actually wish you kept your healthy answer in your pocket and brought it up for this one, because I actually think they'll go as far as a healthy Draymond Green will take them, because I think they're completely different with Draymond Green on the floor and off the floor. Even if the second unit does start, you know, moving in the way that we want them to, it just feels that with Draymond Green there, everything from defense to offense, it just runs so much more smoother for the Warriors. And without him, even with an up and running second unit, I don't know if they're gonna get past that second round. But hey, you never know.
Well, you know, Pao, there was news just actually today that in 7 to 10 days, Draymond Green will come back. So to your point, you know,
let's see how healthy he is.
The Warriors would go after that. But let's go on to the Brooklyn Nets, Gabe. Now, you know, KD is back. However, they did lose yesterday, and Jason Tatum scored 54 points in their loss to the Celtics. Given that, what do you think? How far will the Nets go in the East in the playoffs?
This is where I will take and stick to my word. I've done a couple of interviews. I think I might have mentioned it before. So I have Brooklyn coming out of the East. So I still have, the president declares that the Nets will still come out of the East. I think, you know, the addition of Ben Simmons eventually at some point will be big on the defensive end. When you look at the wing scorers there in the East, look at Jason Tatum, that would probably be Ben Simmons' matchup moving forward, or his versatility and things like that. So I still have the Nets coming out of the East, even though it looks kind of rough right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I look at the matchups right now, though. So let's say that they do end up, if they play, the playoffs start today, they'll have to go through the play-in. Let's say they go through the play-in.
Yeah.
They go up against the Miami Heat. And let's say they do get past the Miami Heat, they go against the Philadelphia 76ers. Both those teams are rolling. Do you feel that, as constructed right now, we haven't even really seen how the Ben Simmons piece would fit, that they are actually still the juggernauts we expected them to be when we assumed that Harden and Kyrie and KD would all come together?
Yeah, I'm just doubling down. I got to double down. I said what I said. I got to stick to it now. I can't turn back.
All right,
so let's see how everything pans out, Gabe. But let's go on to the last, and let's talk about individual awards. We all know how heated that MVP race is in the NBA. So given that, Gabe, the president declares that blank will be the NBA MVP.
The president declares, I'm going to go against the norm here. I know the big guys are dominant. You got Jokic, you got Embiid. But I feel like if Memphis stays on track and ends up being number one in the West, I got to go with Ja. If they're what, 2 games behind, 3 games behind, I think, in terms of first place in the West. And you have Devin Booker still out, Chris Paul's out. Cameron Johnson played big the other night for Phoenix. But if Memphis can keep it rolling and finish top of the West, I think Ja has got to get my vote.
No, I agree with that. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to catch the Suns because the Suns only have 13 losses. Memphis has 22. But then you look at the Warriors, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Jazz, and Dallas. The gap between Golden State and Dallas is only 3 games. So that's how tight that situation is. And if Ja Morant does bring the Memphis Grizzlies to maybe a 2nd seed, maybe that might just
I like
happen.
your choice, Gabe, though. I like that.
Appreciate it.
Gabe, thank you very much for joining us. We
Gabe.
love your takes.
My pleasure.
If the Nets get eliminated, we're having you on the show immediately. Just so you know.
Sure. I got to cry. I might shed a tear.
Really appreciate you, Gabe.
No problem. Take care.
In the meantime, for all NBA fans out there, watch exciting NBA games and get a chance to win awesome prizes from Signal. Just take a selfie with your TV while watching NBA games on NBA TV Philippines, One Sports, or TV5. Make sure that the channel logo is visible in your selfie. Then go to Signal's official website to register and submit your selfie. 30 lucky viewers will win digital gift cards from NBA Store Philippines. For more info, visit www.signal.tv. This will happen from March 1 to April 11, 2022.
That was good, babe. That was very good. When we return, we'll go inside the game of Gilas Pilipinas head coach Chot Reyes to talk about the future of the men's national team as well as the big names to watch out for in the upcoming Southeast Asian Games. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back. You're watching The Game. With the 31st Southeast Asian Games on the horizon, the Gilas Pilipinas men's basketball program is already looking ahead to the competition and beyond. Our very own Jet Manuel caught up with the head coach Chot Reyes to talk about the recent FIBA World Cup window, as well as long-term plans for the national team in this latest edition of Inside the Game.
Well, well, you just finished, no, the the window that you had, and maybe let's start off with your general assessment maybe of the FIBA World Cup Asia qualifier games. So that the few past games that you had, general assessments now.
I thought we were able to achieve what we set out to achieve. Number one of which was to field the competitive team. Because remember when they appointed me as the head coach on February 1, there was no team. I mean, there were not enough players. They were not even practicing. I mean, just to be able to participate in the window was really in danger, and the submission of lineup was a few days away. So the first order of business was to put together, assemble at least a team that could compete in the window. I thought that we were able to do that. I thought we were able to put up a semblance of a team. It was a ragtag, patch-up team, but at least it was a team nonetheless. That was number one objective. The number two objective was for me to get the chance and the feel of coaching the guys who have never had an opportunity to coach before. Guys like Ange, Kwame, Dwight Ramos, THIRDY RAVENA, even the guys who I hardly knew, JD Tungkab and Will Navarro and Chadi Rangel. And on those metrics, I thought the first window was a success. I had that opportunity to coach those guys not only in the actual games but in the practices. Now pulling off a victory, I think even in the best of circumstances, beating New Zealand was difficult to start with. I know a lot of people are upset because it turned out to be a huge margin. But remember, entering the last 5 minutes, we were only 15 points down, and we had already missed 13 free throws at that point. So had we made maybe half of those free throws, we'd be maybe down 7-8 points going to the last 5 minutes. It would not have been as bad. But you very well know, Jet, I mean, that's sports, right? That's basketball. Those things happen.
But you mentioned a couple of players and a couple of guys pala na you've coached for the first time. Sila Pauling, Kim, Ange, diba? These are players we all know. But two bright spots actually that the whole country saw was Dwight and THIRDY. So these two guys have played huge games for you. How do you see their will be, or how important will they be for the future of the Gilas program?
Very important, very critical roles. In fact, I've already gone on record by saying we are really transferring the mantle of leadership on their shoulders. So this early pa lang, I'm already looking at them as leaders, not just as players, and they're being already trained and developed as leaders. So and as you very well know, if you're a leader, there are other things that you have to think about just aside from your own game, right? And I told both THIRDY and Dwight they should get used to it from now. Not next year, not a few months from now, but now they should already really start looking at this team as a team of which they are the leaders. It's going to be a heavy load on their shoulders, so as early as possible for them to get used to it. I think it will benefit both of them and the program, the team as a whole.
I mean, Coach, I'll be the first to say na people think na, uy, swerte naman ni Dwight siya, ni THIRDY. Sila yung key players ng Gilas school. But, the burden of that responsibility to have the whole nation. I mean, you told me personally, you have that whole nation on your shoulders. In that SEA Games approaching, could you give us maybe a latest, or do you have any updates on what kind of lineup or pool you have? Or wala pa ba right now?
Wala pa because like I said, we have to get the PBA clearance first. We know UAP, the collegiate players are not going to be available. I've talked to Dwight and THIRDY, the guys in Japan, even Kiefer, about their availability, and it seems they will be available. So again, by the way, we have a deadline on March 6, I think, or next week lang naman yung deadline for the SEA Games lineup. So, I mean, the SEA Games is in May, but hey, the deadline is in a week. So, I really hope people can appreciate it. You know, there's so many bashers and haters, and sanay na ako dyan and all that. My request is lang, sana lang naman maintindihan niyo yung sitwasyon, di ba? It's no joke, it's not easy. I mean, you put yourself in our shoes here, it's napakahirap.
Yeah, coach. I mean, that's why actually wanted to have you on the show so people can know talaga the situation behind the scenes, behind the games that we watch. More of future na. I mean, so Pinoy fans, there's some news, alam mo naman social media, young guys like Lebron Lopez, tapos yung 16-year-old Calum Harris. Can you tell us about Gilas' plans for them or yung mga players like them for the youth program?
Yeah, we're putting together as part of our plans for putting a real program together. It has to be vertically integrated, and that means we have to include 18 and under, 16 and under, as young as we can get, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why when we got LeBron to start joining this team, a prime candidate for the SEA Games lineup. Hopefully, he can develop to be ready at the time, together with Calum Harris. And we're looking at those two guys as at the forefront of our 18 and under program. Yeah. We're already looking that far, and we're putting a pipeline together now because that's the only way we can really be sustainably competitive. And you see what with everything that's going on, we really know that the hodgepodge, minimum preparation, little preparation time system just really doesn't work, right? That's why we have to have a group of guys who are just so used to playing together. Hopefully, we're able to do that. If we can get a group of guys who are used to playing together since they were 18 years old, then hopefully we can obviate the problems that we are facing today for the future generations or the future iterations of the national team. We'd love to have it, the smooth flowing, fluid system, ball movement, but if you have 5 practices, I don't know how you can manage. Right?
Kahit sa ligan labas nga, coach, di yata kaya 5 practices. Tabak ka agad.
Yeah. We're not using it as an excuse. We're just saying, sana lang maintindihan nila. Sana maintindihan nila that and that's why we're saying, just give us your support. Anyway, we're preparing for the long term, and that prize, the big picture is FIBA World Cup in August next year, 2023. Yun ang pinupuntirya namin. Yun ang pinupuntirya natin. Judge the system, judge the style of play. Then when we play, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be far different from what you saw last week in this window.
There it is. Oh my God, thanks, coach. Sounds good. Everything sounds good. Best of luck. Congratulations again on everything, and moving forward, coach. Best of luck. We always have your back, and we're supporting you and the whole Gilas program. So thanks, coach. Honestly,
appreciate it. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
That was Jet Manuel with Gilas Pilipinas head coach Chot Reyes for Inside the Game. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bea Daes Fabros.
I'm Paulo De Rosario. This has been The Game.